definitely. But when when EQ becomes more important than IQ? Anyone?
Daily life. In our daily life.
Yeah.
Personal relationship, family.
Sorry. Yes, Dr.
With
Murli?
personal relationship, with family, it is emotional is more important than intelligence.
Yeah. 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 Okay. So here today, what I'm going to share is something with respect to career, which is where what role IQ plays and what role EQ plays. Actually, both are required for anyone to be successful. So that's why the topic is dual engines of success. So it, it is not just compares IQ and EQ, but how both complement each other in anyone to become a successful human being. So a strategic analysis of cognitive capacity, that is the ability to absorb things, to learn, versus emotional intelligence. So IQ gets you in the door, but EQ helps you to move up. So as I mentioned, this is
Well,
good morning, Kamalji.
good morning.
Yeah.
Sorry.
So
Oh,
yes, go ahead, Kamal.
no, sorry. I'm not able to present anything today because I'm not prepared for anything. So,
It's okay. After your message yesterday, I just prepared a couple of slides about
oh,
the importance of IQ and EQ with respect to
okay.
career.
Respect to
So
care. Okay. Yeah, thank you, sir. Thanks a lot. I'll go
yeah,
through this.
yeah. So again, let me just, for the benefit of Kamalji and people who joined late. So the topic is dual engines of success, where both complement each other, IQ and EQ. IQ is referred to as the cognitive capacity to absorb and learn things, to acquire knowledge. And how does it compare with EQ, emotional intelligence or emotional quotient? IQ gets you in the door, but EQ helps you move up. So again, the context is with respect to career. So
Sorry,
true
there is a lot of
professionals,
background noise. Sorry. Some kind of
uh,
noise is there.
Acharya sir, yeah, I think
Yeah,
Acharya
yeah.
sir's,
Now it's okay.
yeah,
Now it's okay.
fan, I
Yeah,
think.
yeah.
Thank you, Acharya sir, for muting. So true professional success requires both cognitive and emotional capabilities. So it is not that which is better or which is more important. Here, how both play an important role in not just getting into a career, but how to grow in that career. So true professional requires both cognitive and emotional capabilities, but they serve different functions at different stages of a career. So as it says, people get into a career because of their IQ, and how they perform in that career, how they grow in that career is dependent on their EQ. Intelligence quotient IQ provides the cognitive baseline required for technical execution. So cognizance, how we learn things from using our five senses. It is not just it is not just mugging and going and reproducing and getting more marks. It is learning the fundamentals, learning the basics, and how it can be applied in the real world. So that is where intelligence quotient comes into picture. Whereas emotional quotient provides the interpersonal capabilities required for leadership. So when we are part of an organization, when we are part of a group, when we are part of a team, it is not our individual abilities, what we know, in what expertise we have becomes more important to lead the team or to perform our functions effectively. Here, emotional quotient takes over IQ more than the knowledge what we know, how we perform together as a team, how we accept others and their contributions, how we contribute to each other's success as well as to the team's success, and grabbing the opportunity to become a leader or exploring those interpersonal skills and honing those skills to get acceptance from others and then taking up the leadership position. So IQ measures cognitive capacity and technical proficiency. Again, we are today in a digital world which is disrupting very quickly, and there is a beast which has been unleashed. The artificial intelligence is a self-learning program which has been unleashed, and its capacity to learn from what is existing in the digital world is probably billion times more than the human capacity. As human beings, we can focus on one thing at a time, and probably we can memorize or we can learn a few things in a given span of time. But AI, with its huge processing power, can learn from what is already existing, what data or information is already existing in the digital world. So this is another thing that is going to disrupt our education system also in the coming days, or it is already disrupting how students will be taught, how their ability to, or how to assess their ability to know what they have learned will totally change in the coming days and years. So intelligent quotient quantifies exactly how smart or clever an individual is. So the system that has been adopted world over is there's a syllabus or there's a subject, there is a system of delivering, and then there's a system of assessment. But this is basically going to be challenged in the coming days. So intelligence quotient is a raw processing power of the brain centered strictly on logic, memory, and analytical skills. So when it comes to memory, yes, we can remember some things once memorized for a few days or maybe a few weeks. But after that, if we don't repeat it, it just slips out of our memory. The same thing applies to our skills also. So this IQ requires constant repetition if we want to be at the top. So some of the key attributes are core focus. So the ability to solve day-to-day challenges and logical deduction. So it is basically an analytical ability, how we can reduce or come to the solution step by step. The second aspect of IQ is also genetics. So as we all know that every child is born with four types of intelligences: IQ related to the brain, EQ related to the heart, PQ related to the body, and SQ related to the soul. So IQ is also largely related to the genetics. More so, a child born in a family of musical exponents will also become an expert in music because of the environment, because of the genetics. It is in their genes, so to say. The third attribute is application. So it is again how we apply, how we use that knowledge, crucial for establishing baseline technical proficiency, how effectively we use that knowledge to solve any challenge. As against EQ, emotional quotient, measures the ability to understand and manage emotions. So it is not only about our own emotions, but also understanding about others' emotions, about others, what they are experiencing. Emotional quotient quantifies emotional intelligence. It is the navigational framework used to manage one's own psychology and effectively interact with others. So, being in a space be of understanding ourselves, what our emotions are, emotional state is, and also depending on the external environment, what is the emotional state of others in the same environment, and how we effectively communicate or interact with them. So again, the three core attributes are core focus. So one is being self-aware about our own emotional state or being. Empathy, being sensitive to others' emotions. And social skills. It is not just being sensitive, how we can help others to overcome those challenges that they are going through. That is the empathy is just feeling for them, but compassion is also taking action to elevate the challenges the others are facing. Where does it originate from? Like IQ is coming also part of the genes. This does not inherently, and people are not born with this, but it can be a skill set that can be consciously developed over time. Where do we apply this? Crucial for navigation, complex social dynamics. We are social beings. At the same time, we are highly emotional also. So, how do we balance? How do we grow by respecting others' emotions? Is where this emotional intelligence or emotional quotient comes in handy when we build relationships. So the measurement and focus, when it is applicable in different frameworks, IQ is focus is centered around technical proficiency, problem, or the solving challenges, and based on logic. How is it measured? IQ, there are many tests that are there which can measure our IQ. They are standard tests and they are quantitative tests. It has got nothing to do with what education we have. Even a person without a graduation can have high IQ compared to someone who's done PhD, which if the same test is taken by both these people, there are many chances that a person who is not well educated can have higher IQ than a person with higher education. Whereas when it comes to EQ, the focus is centered around navigating social dynamics, building relationships, and empathy. So, how is it measured? It is assessed through self reports. So, we taking tests. We have gone through some tests. Pramod Shetty had shared one. Even I had shared one test about our ikigai, how to find our ikigai. So there are many such tests where we can test our EQ, which is focused on our behavior when it comes to situations where it involves other people also. So, so in one's lifetime, IQ remains stable, relatively stable. There's a limit to which IQ can be enhanced, whereas EQ is highly malleable. It can be developed without any limits, or people can become more and more resilient and develop their emotional quotient. So when it comes to a career, the main difference or the contribution from IQ and EQ is how one changes career or grows in a career over their entire career lifespan. So, as it was mentioned earlier, IQ opens the door. So, IQ is largely set by genetics and generally considered stable throughout the life. That means to say there's a limit to which our intelligence quotient can be improved. Whereas EQ, it's a dynamic thing, and depending upon our own consistent efforts, we can become highly high in. We can acquire high emotional quotient. So EQ is highly adaptable. It can be learned, developed, and improved continuously. So how does each complement? How does IQ complement EQ when it comes to career progression? So while IQ gets you in the door, EQ helps you to move up. That is what we have learned earlier. So in the initial phase, a person is recognized based on their intelligence, based on their knowledge levels. So high EQ drives initial hiring and early school performance. It is the threshold for entry. It opens the door. IQ or the education opens the door. But when it comes to growing in the career, when it comes to growing into the management positions, it is the EQ which becomes more important. So for consistently growing in a career, high EQ is required. High EQ dictates long-term career advancement, effective leadership, and seamless team collaboration. So EQ, the higher the EQ, the higher one can grow in their career. It doesn't mean that one need not improve their intelligence or knowledge, because again, as we mentioned, we are in a disruptive era, digital era now. We need to keep acquiring new skills, new knowledge. So even IQ has to be constantly updated, but depending on the circumstances and the environment. So for optimal leadership, both are required. Optimal leadership requires a deliberately balanced approach peak performance relies on deploying the right quotient for the right friction. Strong intelligence handles the work, and strong emotional intelligence handles the workplace. So, when it comes to challenges, understanding the first principles or the basics becomes very, very important. That's where Elon Musk has been very successful in becoming the richest man in the world. So, going to the first principles, it doesn't mean that Elon Musk knows everything. He's got such a big brain that he remembers everything. No, he knows how to apply the first principles, and from a knowledge that he can get from anywhere. Today we are in an AI era where remembering everything is not really required. If we know how to design a prompt, we can get any information that we require in fraction of a minute, in few seconds. By putting a prompt in any one of the AI tools, we can get whatever knowledge that we are seeking. So high EQ handles complex technical or analytical tasks, and high EQ manages teams, handles stress, and navigates complex workplace dynamics. This is where Elon Musk has been highly successful. He doesn't go to the office every day. He is not there present in the office. He only goes when there are challenges that his team cannot solve. So he has hired high IQ individuals, and he has set up a system, a structure which works, where he has empowered people to take decisions, and he steps in only when others are not in a position to solve those challenges. So for effective leadership, for both are required. That is where Elon Musk has been highly successful, even Jeff Bezos and many other people. So, what are the key takeaways when it comes to our own personal development? So, how do we balance both our cognitive, improving our cognitive capacity, or improving our learning skills, because new things are coming up. So we need to be updated, or we need to be abreast with what is happening around us, and also balancing it with the emotional intelligence. So IQ definition: IQ is how smart or clever we are. At the same time, EQ is how well we understand and manage our emotions, and how we become sensitive to others' emotions. When it comes to stability, IQ is dependent on our genetics. The what we have inherited, the genes that we have inherited from our parents and forefathers, and it is stable over time. Whereas EQ can be constantly updated and mastered over time. It's a set of learnable skills, and consciously it can be learned with consistent efforts. And when it comes to the role each one plays in success of an individual, it is crucial for performing in schools, colleges, and universities, and initial hiring to get the doors open, to get a foot in the door, to get into an organization. Whereas EQ will play very crucial over a long period of time, how one performs in that position and how one grows in that career to take up leadership and management positions. So that was a presentation brief comparison. At the same time, how IQ and EQ complement each other in anyone's success. Both.
Sir, one thing, even you are saying that IQ is stable. Nowadays, IQ can also increase, even through the brain gym, and also a lot of other things are happening.
but
So
it's a limit. But
yeah,
there's a limit, sir.
yes, but it is also slightly we can increase also
Yeah,
by practice.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Also, we can consider that we can use IQ itself to improve the EQ also.
Yes, but both the things are required. Not only
Both are
depending on
see,
the IQ only.
when we talk about knowledge versus a skill, so the part of IQ developing a skill will lead to the improvement of EQ also.
Yes,
Okay, the experience part comes and the problem solving this one and coming with the innovative ideas and also get related at least with the base from IQ and then apply to improve that.
Yeah, let us be in the context of a career.
Yeah.
That's where,
From the
you
career
know,
point only, I'm
yeah. So yeah, I mean EQ definitely, it's very, very broad based.
yes.
How we behave in our family, with our friends, and then beyond that in our community. And community can be in our workplace, or it can be in our, in the multi-story building, or so there are many this thing. But here the context, as I mentioned when I started the presentation, is with respect to the career. No doubt, again, today, even though we shun politicians, but they have, not generalizing, but definitely they know how, or they have constantly working on their EQ, how to be in that space where people accept them as leaders. Again, as I mentioned, I'm not generalizing. Some people get accepted as leaders, and some people use other means to become leaders. So I'm not generalizing again.
Yeah. No, we can just take it this one, the situational specific develop IQ, which can be treated as a skill, is nothing other than the EQ in practice. Because when we talk about situational, that is also include the emotions of self and others, and how do you deal using the IQ and develop this so-called skill to uh, get it right or put it in the right direction. What you need in a profession is as good as EQ.
Yeah, let us hear from people.
Yeah.
How working in an organization. And again, I would like to request Mr. Prasad to share what made him switch from a career to becoming an entrepreneur. He had already shared, maybe some of you may know about it. So if I would request Mr. Prasad to share what made him quit his job in Sony Gulf, and start his own entrepreneurship journey. Mr. Prasad, if you are listening, I would request you to please unmute and share your experience.
and please come on video.
Good morning, everybody. Actually, early morning here, 5:30. Still in my sleep, so I'm not in the right clothes also to come on video. Okay, so just to highlight, because being Ramadan here, okay,
Okay.
it's late nights and early morning. We hear the bombardments in the sky, so it's it's not that comfortable now in Dubai.
Okay. Okay.
Okay, so more important is to answer the question as to how EQ can be blended with the IQ. Okay, I believe it's a skill EQ that needs to be generated over a period of time. Okay, and as someone rightly mentioned, that IQ also is not something which is fixed. It definitely can be varied depending on the experiences as well as the risk you take. So, being in a competitive environment and working in a company where entrepreneurial skills were encouraged, As Mr. Prasad mentioned, I worked in Sony earlier on as an employee long back from 92 to 97. That's a company which helped us expand our executive skills, whether it was in terms of organization skills, it was in terms of scales, it was in terms of marketing, it was in terms of admin, in terms of finance. So if one actually goes back to the Japanese culture, okay, I remember only the managing director had a secretary, okay, just to organize the day. But the rest of the staff, whether it was senior management staff, middle management, okay, they never had their own secretary. So one had to basically arrange the statement of account, finance balances, okay, make your own coffee, okay, go into the logistics part of the business, see where the shipments were going, how the shipments were being handled. So that's one of the good things in a Japanese company. And more important, what I learned in a Japanese company was leadership. So we had almost about 10 people who were controlling 500 people because they were collective in their decision making. The teamwork was excellent. Obviously, each one are different, and there are differences which simmer, but it doesn't come out in the open. Whatever differences are there are collectively discussed, and it is shared and resolved in their own meetings. So these are some points which basically denote the EQ part of our life. Okay, IQ is something like today with the artificial intelligence, anyone can come to some understanding. Like use AI in a very productive way in terms of our management skills. But more important is how do you use that AI? In what form do you help people grow in their skills? And in what way can you interact with the different people? Is where basically you stand out as a leader. So even in my company right now, after becoming an entrepreneur now almost 25 years, I'm still in the learning stage. We still have regular meetings where each one of us try to share our own experiences. We have that 30-minute huddle every day in the morning where we basically inform each other about what we're doing, and then basically at the end of the day when we do a review, okay, what basically I'm very clear is that, okay, what did you learn during the day? Okay, if you have not earned something for the company, what did you learn and what do you share for the company staff? So that's where basically your teamwork, your other social skills come of understanding and uh, sharing the information with each other. So primarily, EQ is very essential in becoming an entrepreneur uh, because we are in a people's business. Okay? We are in an IT world, AI world, where we need to understand, blend, and resolve all the human problems. Look at the technological advances which are happening around the world. Also integrate the team's emotional intelligence with the uh, intelligent quotient so that the best productive as well as the most efficient form of decision making is enabled. Because finally, every business depends on the decisions which we take. For example, coming to a real time situation today, okay, most of our team members have not seen the situation today we are in. The last 1 week has been the most defining moments in Dubai. And what the world media is projecting is totally different from what is on the ground. Okay, and that's something which has come with the leadership. So if you have videos of the leadership of UAE going around in the malls, even with missiles being fired and drones being shot, okay, it means that the leadership is not worried. Okay, and that's emotional intelligence. That is not intelligent quotient. That shows the strength of the country's leadership. And then down below, when it disseminates to the individuals, they also believe in their own leadership. So each and every person can actually apply EQ in their regular day-to-day life and can be an inspiration to rest of the team members. Today, the country requires more of resilience. It doesn't require more of IQ. Okay, IQ has already been used. AI has already been used, and that's why the country stands so tall in the eyes of people. But what is more important today in this times of defiance, in this times of challenge, is basically how can people brace up? Uh, well, maybe the media is showing people leaving, but actually there's no one leaving. Okay, people are still going around their normal duties. Of course, businesses stopped completely. Okay, because of the circumstances and the safety requirements. But generally, more important is people are grounded. Okay, and that also is the reflection of the EQ people have grown into. Okay, IQ is one part, but EQ is something which people have taken into consideration that it's very important in this stage to show your emotional strength, your ability to have that courage to withstand whatever is the reports, whatever is the views, or whatever is the comments which are appearing in different segments of the media. So right now, I think you will see a lot of EQ which is coming up in the country. Okay, more than the IQ. People with IQ will write articles, will make videos, and show what is selling. But people with EQ are the ones primarily who can sustain and can build up their resilience at the times when it is needed. And like they say, okay, uh, everyone can be a part of a ship which is sailing smoothly. But the leaders are those who basically know how to weather a ship in a storm. And today, this country is rightly in a storm, and definitely everyone is there still in the ship because of the leadership, because of the emotional intelligence which people are showing around. So this is a classic real-time example to show how a country can survive. Of course, we have all survived the COVID, we have survived the floods, but this is the very serious as well as a very intense moment in the lives of people, where Gen Z and especially the Gen X, okay, have not witnessed such a moment in any of their day-to-day affairs. But I believe over a period of time, especially with EQ, everyone will get through this bad time. Okay, this too shall pass, and hopefully that's where I believe that even to our children, even to the generation next, okay, more than looking at the IQ, it's important to see their EQ and build up their psychological as well as the physiological abilities to cope up with any kind of storm, any kind of challenges which can appear in their lives or in their companies. In fact, today a lot of companies are looking at how do we survive for the next 2 months, because many companies have come over, many companies have started, many are startups, and there is a challenge to survive because the costs here are not come down. The costs are still high. Okay, so how do you weather this storm? How do you navigate your flight? How do you really actually encourage your people to continue to hang on? Because there is a investment which has happened, and when that investment is not working the way it works, or if your experience is not working the way it is actually supposed to help you, then definitely your inner abilities, the world inside you, is very important to navigate the world outside you. So I hope I've been able to build up that case of how EQ is very important, especially at tough times. IQ can be displayed at any time because it's much more garnered now towards artificial intelligence, towards knowledge acquiring, towards university learning. But EQ is what you build inside you at such times of resilience, such times of difficulties where everything is against you. This country never wanted a war. It was dragged into a war. And today, even though being the most peaceful countries, we have the most missiles and drones being fired every day at important installations, important civilian sites. But still, the leadership has shown strength. People are showing strength. Everyone is out on the streets. Okay, everyone is doing their work normally. So that is where I think EQ has been able to help score over the IQ part. Over to you, Mr. Prasad.
Thank, thank you, Mr. Prasad. Thank you for sharing your own personal experience and the situation of things, especially UAE. So, yeah, definitely. Yeah, there was a time when whether it was the Gulf War, the two Gulf Wars, somewhere, had a big impact on the entire Middle East, and how people left those countries and came back to their home countries. Now, probably the situation is equally bad, but but still people have that conviction in the leadership, and there is no the similar situation is not being experienced, where people left everything and migrated back to their own countries. Yeah, it is definitely a concern, uh, but it is the kind of confidence measures that the UAE leadership created, even amongst a lot of tourists who were there. How quickly they took action when aircrafts were grounded and people were stuck in the airports. How quickly they were given the food, the the accommodation and other things. That is something which everyone of those people, everyone would carry, and again share it with others. So this is the how quickly a decision from the top gets implemented at the bottom. That is where how strong, as Mr. Prasad mentioned, the EQ has played a role. And even during COVID, there was a need for medical professionals. So immediately after COVID, there were many types of visas that were offered for professionals, especially doctors and nurses, that to attract them and come to UAE and contribute their skills and knowledge. That was another thing that I can remember. So thank you, Mr. Prasad. Thank you for sharing your perspective on between IQ and EQ, both personally as well as in the current situation. Thank you. Yes, Acharya sir, you have something to share?
Yeah, actually, that was my thing I already covered. IQ also by practice and with the system we can improve. And what is IQ? What is the intelligence? Intelligence, what is the source for that? It is operating from the mind, generally in English we say, but in our Sanskrit, in our Vedas, it is starting with the five senses. The five senses, without the five senses we cannot have the awareness. So first we should understand. Without understanding, even we cannot solve anything. And solving is the process which definitely requires the EQ. Emotional quality means it is not separation, it is the oneness. That will be the source for that creating the team and teamwork for anything. That means how we are having the relatedness. Even the law of attraction, the workability is coming from the space, energy. Whatever thing in the inside we are saying, that is also creating the vibration. So IQ, without IQ we cannot do. At the same time, IQ and EQ all are interdependent. So we can increase the IQ also, we can increase the EQ also. Thank you, sir. This is my opinion.
Thank you, Acharya sir. Yeah, again, as I was mentioning, IQ can be improved. Rewiring the brain and all those concepts are there, where our memories can be retaining capacity can be improved. But the limitation of the brain is we can do one thing at a time.
Yes, yes.
We cannot, even though there are avadanis, people who can, using their five senses, can be aware of many things happening around us, around
Yes.
them. There are avadanis, ashtavadani, shatavadani, people who can keep track of 100 things happening around them.
And when the
So
EQ is improving, IQ also can improve. Emotionally, when we are calm, and more awareness will be, no panic, no something. Because normally in the disaster management, in some place, they have vacated the school and they gone to different place, and in some other place they vacated and they came to the school like that, because that was the panic. So when we are having that IQ understanding, At the same time, EQ, it is contributing for each other. That is why disaster management, both the things are required.
Yeah,
Yes.
No,
basically,
this is
again,
what see,
an Avadani is, yeah, only 1 second, what is it? Yeah, an
this fully agree.
Avadani is someone, has certain knowledge and he keeps acquiring those knowledge, and definitely he or she doesn't give up. He keeps constantly improving the knowledge and the skills that is there. Whereas the Avadanis, the Shatavadani, this thing, it is basically being aware, being able to uh, get inputs through the five senses from so many things happening around. So that is an ability, that is skill. No, that I put it under EQ rather than IQ.
Yeah.
Yeah, over to you, Bhatia sir, and then
And
Mr. Prasad.
that's what the basic thing comes the difference between what we call as jnana and viveka.
Yeah,
This is how it is taken in our Vedas, and I think definitely it has to be Vivek which is finally dominating and doing the things. Mere knowledge will not do, because as he is also mentioning our five senses. The five senses basically they are all data collection. This is raw data which comes from different. Yes, there people have the capability that independently all five can work, and then it can be correlated and done. Sometimes what happens is one is dominating, another may be less. Suppose I am concentrating on listening, and that data is being dominating for the processing and other things, other senses, whatever data they are seeing, and other thing, let us say from the eyes or by the touch and other things. That part is not taken into consideration. But this all depends upon how we guide them. See, like same thing, but it's only the weighting factors which differs, and how you add them together coherently, non-coherently, and other things. So that is the type of thing happens here also when all the five senses are open at a given time, but they are continuously collecting data. But how much weightage is given for that one for the further processing and other things, where the Viveka part comes and this one that becomes it overall, then you apply. So when this becomes this one, it is as you also said, it is a stable in the sense, but it is also dynamic in the nature if we can continuously keep on pairing these meetings and other things. So it response from that coming, which is coming as a EQ, it differing because of this. So there we can say
yeah,
that from the normal intelligence, when we go to skilled, this one, which experience part and also having the innovation part, also get into that, the things become. So that's why there is a difference, no doubt, but they are definitely overlapping with certain variations.
yeah, both complement. Yes, thank you, Bhatia sir, thank you. Yes, Kamalji, you are on video, so I suppose you would like to share something.
So come on,
Just
Vivek, come on. Aye, bye.
yeah, just listening to things. So one thing which we faced last time. So in the corporate world or in any scenario, we take lots of decisions, and in corporate world we say no, it should be data driven or should be logical, rational, all those things. But somewhere while taking a decision, we get into the EQ or IQ mode, whether to take a decision on the emotional basis or on the basis of data or rational basis. I know the most of the things we do on the IQ basis because it's a corporate world. No, everything is should be rational, should be justifiable. But at the same time, while making a decision, it's sometimes become very confusing to balance that EQ and IQ also. So this is what we have faced last time, where we are doing some kind of resolutioning. We need to hire a people. So just checking whether to engage the same person who is skill or who has certification, or to hire someone from the outside and take a budget and all those things. So just thinking, while taking a decision, what can be the the best one? Obvious IQ is always a preferred one, but what's your view?
Yeah, thank you for raising this pertinent question, Kamalji. So, although our intelligence, the IQ plays a very important role, like as you said, collecting a lot of data, analyzing the data, converting it into information, may or may not really, whatever it points out to as a decision that should be taken. Most of the top management takes decision based on their gut feeling, or based on their emotional, what they feel emotionally at that point in time. Currently, we are reading this book, The Psychology of Money.
Hmm.
Again, that's I think you also no, you also have read that book.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
think
Awesome, Musa.
yeah. So basically, what the author says is people become successful. They earn the money, but it is more challenging to you know uh, to stay wealthy than becoming wealthy. That's where most of the decisions that they take are based on emotions and not congruent with what ideally should be taken. And that's where they take some wrong decisions and lose everything that they have earned. No doubt, many tools are available to crunch the data, big data and other things. We are living in a day, huge. I mean,
Sir,
there's so
can
much
I
of data
add?
that is generated. 1 second, Achal sir,
Oh,
let me
please.
continue. So we are in a data-driven world, and data is the new currency. But however, how do we uh, analyze the data, and how do we really use it to take decisions? Ultimately, it may not really uh, narrow down and help us to take a decision. Still, it could mean that someone has to step in and take a decision based on their past experience, or something which is which might not fall into that space of what the data is, or the analysis is pointing towards. Yes, Acharya sir, and then
Yes, mainly what I want to communicate is what Kamalji says, what Bhatia sir says, what Prasad Shetty sir says. When we talk about that four instruments of the mindset, first one is the manas. Manas means all the five senses, whatever thing it is receiving, just like a keyboard it is putting you. Then second one is that vivek. That means buddhi. Why we are hiring with the higher people? Because same way we create the challenges with the same mind, it is very difficult. From the outsider, they will know better than that. And the third one is, it is not that buddhi only, they are having the data, that is chit, that means storehouse. What are the experience, what are the working, what are the reference, they are doing that. And main one is, it is balancing. It is not only depending on only on the emotion, or only depending on the data. It is how much we have to do, whether it is urgent or important, how we can balance and solving the situation on that time. According to the samay, the time also changing, situations also changing. My point is that mindset, that having the four part, manas, buddhi, chitta, and that our ego means self also required, not that over, not from left. Thank you, sir.
thank you, Acharya sir. I think to come back specifically to what Kamalji asked is about
Corporate world.
there's a dilemma in a corporate world whether to retain people, train them in this the challenges that the AI is bringing, or whether to fire people and bring in new people to sustain the growth of the company.
That is the
So
training and development required.
no, that is one of the example. But then
Yeah,
in the
Okay.
corporate world, to take a decision is itself like, it's maybe a combo of both EQ, IQ, and other things. But what Raghu say, I don't know how much we can, we can do it in the
No,
corporate world. But yes, taking a decision will require lots of multiple things, multiple considerations in place.
Kamal
no.
sir, yeah,
Let me 1 second. Let me share this thing about, again. I had shared about Elon Musk or Jeff Bezos.
yes,
They have empowered people to take the decisions. Even though it can be a mistake, they are not really. There is that space where they are given the freedom to take decisions which could be a mistake, or which could which might not lead to the solution that they are looking for. And as I mentioned, they step in only when people fail to take the decisions, or
yeah,
they're not in a position to take those decisions which can be detrimental to the whole organization. So again, it is, again, one is the empowerment, the trust that one is bestowed with. All these things play a role. Again, there's a fine line between, there are many companies who have regretted firing people now. I'm talking about ID companies who have let go of people, and now the AI tools that they are developing, or they developed, is not performing as per expectations. Now they are in a dilemma, whether to bring those people back or whether to hire new people. So this is, again, only time can tell whether it was a right decision or not.
yeah. So what I want to add, Kamalji, I was associating with the Leadership Management International. From there, even the delegation part is also there. Even if the time is changed, we have to change according to time. So that is the way. It is not AI come immediately happen. So that the people we will hire from outside also, and the same time who are loyal, who are emotionally experience the own company, for them training also. And always it is some people will be there, 8 to 10% people may not be loyal, may not be working there. Even we are talking about the 4 type of people who are really committed but they don't know. For them, teach them. They know, but they are not doing. For that, empowering them. Even some people, they don't want to do, they are not capable. So that for that, say goodbye. So that emotion, and also that what are the IQ, it is also balanced according to them. There are no fixed things. It is a balanced thing, and mainly IQ alone cannot also do, because now I am preparing lot of things. For that, you have to give the feedback. Even prompting who is doing, the human being, we have to have the right question, not our 1 or 2 word. And also the IQ, also even that artificial intelligence also saying it is not 100%. I found a lot of mistakes. I told him, you have given this one, this is wrong. Then he has twisted like that. No, you are talking about Vedic, I am talking about this one, something. And they are not having, someone they know, whatever the data they fix, according to that it is moving, and it is not doing alone. It is also getting some consultant from others. So EQ will definitely give, and IQ will give the productivity, speed, that accelerate the process. Instead of preparing for today, within 5 minutes it will create that whatever the things you have prepared. So both the things are required, and we have to change according to the time also. Thank you. Am I communicating?
Yeah. Thank you, sir. Thanks.
Thank you,
Sharing
Acharya
it.
sir. Yes, over to you, Mr. Prasad.
Yeah, just to summarize what I've told participants here, and if I were in their shoes and basically look at how I need to expand as well as build up the manpower. Okay, my idea of recruitment as well as to align the company's objective with the individual's objective is to look at the strengths and weakness of the person. And generally, it is to strengthen the strengths and weaken the weakness. So let us assume, okay, if someone is more theoretical, someone is more research oriented, someone is more interested in building his intellectual faculties, then definitely I would like to give him something more related to AI, more related to exploring on the net. Okay, but something which basically is not in the capacity of that individual, where he is not interested, is not keen. Like for example, sales. Okay, sales. I'm more interested in people who are the achievers, people who do not really sit in front of the computer, people who do not really go into the research part. But sometimes in business, okay, the unthinkable happens. Sometimes logic doesn't work. Okay, it is the circumstances, it is the way you approach a situation, it is the way you have the power to be so convinced and believe in yourself that automatically the universe also turns in your favor. And I have seen that happening. Okay, so it's like, if you give some food to a carpenter and tell him to become a chef, he can never become a chef. Okay, and similarly vice versa. So you should identify what is the skills of that person, what is the level of interest he has in life, and then assign the right quotient of work to him. So even in my business, okay, I definitely look at, okay, the levels of attitude he has, the interest and the curiosity he carries, and based on that, it is important that you need to have both the kinds of people, the one who have the IQ, the one who have the EQ. And generally, if you look at the broad description, okay, people who are out on the field have the EQ, but people who are in the office have the IQ. And that is because the environment they're sitting in is actually what determines how they grow in their life. Okay. Similarly, it is the exposure which you give to the person which actually builds up his abilities as well as his attitude to take him to that altitude. So generally, okay, we need to identify, okay, what skill set is important for which individual, and how you give him the right space as well as the right environment to grow. So in my business also, I'm very clear. Yes, I require people who do the forecasting, who do the planning, who give me the numbers. Okay. But also I need the people who can adapt it on the streets, can take it to the business and try to deliver it on the field. Because finally, both are important. Okay. You need the planning, you need the strategy, you need the tactics. But how do you deliver those deliverables is where basically the go-getter or the ones who are the hunter will deliver it to you. So we need to be very clear exactly, okay, of what level of work we are assigning, to whom we are assigning. And important is to find the right person for the right job, so that he is able to build up that kind of fire in him, that kind of energy in him. Because as a leader, my role is to clearly differentiate and course correct if things are not working well as per the company objectives and the personal objectives of my staff. Okay. Many a times we get carried away, many times we are engulfed with what we want. Okay. But that's where I have to step in and say, okay, this is what I believe should happen, and this is the limit, because going beyond this will not help us. Okay. Now you have to give it to the doers. So there are people who are the thinkers, there are the people who are the doers. And you have to be very clear who are the thinkers, who are the doers, who are the ones who basically then cement both of these activities to give you the right result. I just wanted to
Okay.
be clear.
So,
That's how I look at
mhm.
basically skill sets and the kind of recruitment I would do, and if I was in charge of that responsibility.
Okay. No, that is one of the example, no, to take a decision. But then, as you have your own business, so when you take decision, so most of the thing or most of the decision is based on what? EQ, IQ, blending of both, or gut-based decision, or what?
Now, I go with an open canvas. Okay. There's nothing which is predetermined in my mind. Okay. Definitely, okay. I have my own skill set. I know exactly where I come from and what I want in my company. So if I'm recruiting someone, okay, I look at a mix of both, the EQ, the IQ. Okay. And then I'll determine, okay, whether this person has a better IQ or a better EQ. Okay. And then based on his past experiences, based on his curiosity levels, based on his attitude in life, then I determine whether he's fit for the job or not. Okay, if he's not fit for the job, like for example, someone who's come from
Okay,
an
okay.
IT
Forget about the skill, the hiring part. The other decision which you take on your business environment.
Yeah, so basically, I don't think long term. Okay, I think more short term, because for me the short term goals are more important than the long term. But then when I go towards a part where most of my objectives are met, then I go in for the long term. Because let's assume in a month, if I break it down, okay, the first 10 days, okay, are long term, because that's where the business never happens. Okay, that's where the planning, the strategy, the thinking always happens. Okay, then the 10 to 20 of the month is purely the consolidation, where I have sent my troops on the field, where I know exactly whether they have the arguments, whether the competition is stronger, whether I'm able to defeat the competition, whether I'm able to deliver the goods. And then the last 10 days, 20 to 30, is where I basically give the killer instincts to my boys and say, listen, okay, come what may. Okay, if we have to cut prices, if we have to give some credit, if we have to do some combo deals, whatever it is, we need to meet the target. Okay, so it's a composition of all three factors. So if my results are met somewhere between the 10 and 20th, then I basically will withdraw. Okay, I will be more on a defensive position, because when I'm on the field, I'm sure that I will lose some of my soldiers, I lose some of the profits, I lose some of the sheen which I'm carrying in my business, because I've gone all out. Okay, I'm an aggressor. So it is a combination. Okay, it's a mix. Okay, depends on what stage I am in. The first 10 days, definitely, okay, I'm not going to go into an attack mode. I'm not going to be in a defense mode. I'm going to be more in a consolidation and a thinking mode, strategizing it, planning it, because the business never happens in the first 10 days due to the cycle of business. Okay, so it all depends on the stage where I am. Okay, and the way I look at the situation, I understand the competition, I understand my targets, and then look into, okay, how do I deploy my resources, in which way do I empower them, and where do I place them in the field. Okay, so the first 10 days I'm not pushing the sales at all. I'm pushing more of my planners, my thinkers, the ones who are in admin, the ones who are in an organization, okay, in marketing, okay, to create the firepower, the armaments. Then basically it's a mix of both. Marketing and sales basically put all the resources on the field. And final 10 days is the sales play. Okay, the playbook is completely for salespeople. Okay, marketing gets into the background. Okay, thinking gets into the background. Okay, I'm not interested in more discussions, more meetings. Okay, it is all out on the field. Okay, go and reach as many customers as you can, go talk to as many customers as you can. Okay, do what it takes. Okay, but I want business.
It's not.
Is that clear? Or
Yeah,
still?
got it. No, got it. So thank you, Prasad.
Thank you, Mr. Prasad. Yeah. Tulsi ma'am came on video, and Vedapan sir also. Yes, Vedapan sir, you want to share something? Please go ahead.
No, one thing I want to say, but Prasad Sethi said.
Yes, what is sir is saying?
Go ahead, Bhatia sir.
Concentrating on the
What is sir? Please continue.
short-term goal. Hello.
Yes, but sir, you are going to tell
Go
something.
ahead, Bhatia sir. Go ahead.
Please.
Yeah, I was saying that. What I was saying, but success goals are more important in many aspects, because even the bigger goal can be put in a short, can be gone into the short goal. Because once we have the short goal and see it's for this one, how we have achieved and do this analysis, that will set a direction for the achieving. The success rate will be much more than that. So concentration, and also even otherwise we know most. So that way, if we go, that strategies is very good strategies. What he pointed out. Second aspect, which we have also it is also situational depend. Retaining the people, old people, earlier people, and trying to give them training is definitely a better option always. And because they are in the system, they know what the institute needs, what we have to perform, and where we were lacking, and everything. And training is best. But when we take a new one to start with, They have the skill set, no doubt, but their performance will be again is a little more subjective. So it's a mixed media, but preference is to be given first. Chance should be given to the retaining and training rather than simply saying that you are not needed today.
Again, if I would like to share my experience,
Yeah.
When there's a mandate for the HR department, not based on, the overall company performance, disasters can happen because the HR focuses, although they are responsible for retaining the right talent and, letting go of people who are not an asset to the company. But most of the times their focus is on how much money they can save for the company. And, without realizing what has been the contribution of that person and how, in the current situation, how that person can contribute to sustain the growth of the company. So many a times, certain decisions are taken of letting go of people who are an asset to the company. This can mean do or die for that company. And once the decision is taken, it can be a total doom. So it has happened in many situations, and yeah, empowering is important, but at the same time, in such crisis situations, one has to step in to still take so it's not to let some graphics or some tables to take a decision, but to really be in that space of emotional emotional space rather than an IQ space. That's what my response to your question, Kamaji.
Now, see, the HR department basically is supposed to work based upon the requirement which is coming. What finally we need. That comes from the basically something equivalent of technical thing. From there, it comes that this is what we need it. And we have the people like already, I mean, that is known to them that this is driver. Supplementing, augmenting, and all those things is a part of HR. HR cannot directly, they're not supposed to, they are not responsible for saying that I want so many numbers for this type of this type. So that is how the things are there. So they work in they have to work in the collaboration. They are not independent. This one. The process only they do it. Somewhere the training is required, they will try to think about developing those faculty and giving the training, and some new hiring is required. That again depends on what is the type of job it requires, what is to be looked into that. So they process that basically.
Thank you, sir. Thanks. Yeah, Villapan, sir.
Yes. Very good morning to all our members. Now we had a very good session, very informative, and we have covered every speakers were brilliant in their corporate world, so they were sharing their experience relating to the corporate. Thank you for that. So I am thinking in this not from the corporate scenario, in the day-to-day life, many of the percentage of population is not in the corporate world. So what I am telling is, nowadays IQ is very much found in our new gen people, but EQ is not so much developed. I'm telling this because even doctors, young doctors, are getting suicide. They cannot face the challenge, and very many people I know, and the newspaper also we can see, in the new gen people are killing their parents for money, even their grandmas. That is a very important challenge to society. And when I am appreciating the experience shared, I am asking, I am suggesting that we may evolve some technique for the improvement of our EQ. IQ, there are so many things we can get nowadays from the AI, but EQ is very difficult to improve. So I may suggest that we can have a separate session for the improvement, how we can improve our EQ. Okay, thank you all.
Thank you, Velapan sir. Thank you for your very good suggestion. I think Kamalji will look into it, and even I'll do some research on what activities
Yeah,
or
good
what
suggestion.
steps one can take to improve upon the emotional intelligence. And thank you, Bhatia sir. Thank you. Have a great day. Thank you for joining and
Thank you.
sharing your thoughts. So it's a very good suggestion, Velapan sir. We'll work on it. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, sir. Thank you all.
Thank you, sir. Thanks a lot. Good suggestion.
Yes, over to you, Mr. Prasad.
Yeah, so just to answer the question of how one can develop EQ, okay, I think it's more to do with the exposure. And if rightly said, okay, today's children, the Gen Z and the Alpha kids, are not being exposed to the challenges and the difficulties which many of us have gone through. And because of our past experiences, we are able to come back, size up the situation and build up our resilience, because we know that situations don't last. Okay, there are times where things go against us, and definitely it's just a matter of aggregating and averaging their situations which one comes through, because with every wave of success there's a wave of defeats, disappointments you'll go through. Okay, so with that wave of success, you should never let that success go into your head, because they are thinking that success will come every day. Okay, but when the mind is not geared up and when the body is not feeling that energy to accept and to understand and to be aware of the disappointments or the defeats which we go through, that's where the mind gives in to the situations. And that's where you hear of all these calamities or this suicides which Villapan sir was talking about. Probably they are about 5 to 6% of basically the kind of general data which we have among the people. But important is that, okay, are they willing to accept the challenges? It could be psychological, physiological, it could be mental, it could be financial. Any form of issues, ailments can arise. But is this real? Is this permanent? Is this something which will stay with us? Is this something which is not curable? Is this something which cannot be handled? These are questions which many of us don't really ponder upon, because like we all know, the mind is a sinking sand. Okay, basically it is like the mirage which we think that we are close to, but it always keeps moving away from us. So you need to understand that some things are not within our control, some things are within our control, and what is within our control is something which we can do. Out of our control is something which we leave it to God, leave it to fate, leave it to the universe to conspire to help us. And if one has the intention, one has the interest, what I've seen is that basically you can climb up, you can circumvent, you can obviate any kind of challenges. Okay, only thing is that you need to be ready for the challenge. You have to size up the situation. You have to understand that sometimes you have to course correct, sometimes you have to move your car from the first gear to the second gear or from the fourth gear to the first gear. Okay, because roundabouts sometimes don't come and then tell you need to keep adjusting as soon as you see a roundabout. So most of it is basically again depending on your perception or your minds of how you can be exposed to a situation, and then basically it becomes a stereotype or it becomes a routine for you to work on around it. Okay, like I said, okay, many of the children here in this country have not seen war. Okay, and they have not seen challenges, they have not seen difficulties. So that is why psychologically, whenever there's a missile or a drone attack, okay, there is a run to the shelter, or you've seen like people in tall high-rise buildings going down to the underground. So it's just that, okay, for them every attack can be a challenge to their lives. But if you look at an aggregate, okay, none of these things happen, because the mind is so delicate, the mind is so sensitive that it always envisions, it always reflects the worst, whereas 99% it never happens. Okay, so for that 1% we give up even our 100% hope. So we need to basically measure ourselves. We need to handle it the way it has to be handled more, and then sometimes just tell the mind, okay, all is well. And I think with repetition, okay, all is well, or it's just a passing moment. Okay, things also will pass. Okay, which I think with experience we all have gone through. Okay, the younger generation have not gone through, but they will also go through, because experience makes you much more stronger, makes you much more firmer, and it enables you to become a mature individual and accept things the way you have to accept it. Like we always heard from Gandhiji that if you want to see the change, first be the change. Okay, if you want to handle your children, be like a child with them. Okay, if you want to be friends with them, be their friend first. So it all depends on our perspective of how you clear your own eyeglass, rather than let the vision of your eyeglass change your thinking about what a particular situation is. So I think that's it from me. If there's any more discussion, surely please let's engage.
Yes, Prasad Shetty sir, when you are talking about ahankar, ahankar, it should not have many pride. I did that. That is over. At the same time, it is not humiliation. I have not done. I have not good enough. So the balance is that self-esteem. I am good enough, and I am the part of the team. So that should be also balance. When we talk about that manas, buddhi, that means vivek, chitta, and ahankar, all these should be balanced according to the workability, and that is also source for that IQ and also EQ. That is the source. It will reflect in the PQ, MQ, anything. So only operating from none of us are as equal to all of us, and I am the part only. So that is the way that ego. Ego means I am the only one. That should not be there. I am the part of that. So the spirituality means it is not some ritual. It is the spirit. It is the energy. Thank you.
Yeah, so I think you hit the nail on the head by using this word balance, which I think many of us probably have missed out in this entire course of discussions.
Yeah. Yes,
Okay,
sir.
I think our entire life is full of balance. Okay,
Everything is.
whether it's the food you eat on the plate, okay, whether it's the abilities you have when you, okay, whether it's your practical situations or challenges which we go through,
Yes.
okay, and like you rightly said, the balance of the ego is important. There's nothing wrong in ego, okay, but extended ego or
Yes.
initiative ego is something which will basically bust you. Okay, similarly, okay, like they say, okay, if you act like a carpet, then people will walk for you. Okay, so you
Yeah.
cannot be a carpet also in life. Okay, you need to have your own self-esteem, as Acharya sir said, that you should have your own righteousness. You should be able to be assertive and be very clear, okay, of what is your right and what you should get. Okay, but in that process, you cannot build your ego and demand, okay, that okay, what you are always saying is right. There has to be a balance in life. Balance is
Yes.
something very, very critical in every aspect. Whether it's your day, you cannot be a 18-hour working machine. Okay, you need to be basically balancing it with some spiritual activities, with some physical activities, with some mental activities, so that there is a balance in what you do in life. Okay, and generally, even in your work, okay, you cannot be working 12 months in a year. You need to take that 1 month vacation
Yes.
just to reflect, just to down. Okay, and also you cannot be living in a hot season. You also need to go to the cold season. You need to see the autumn. You need to see the winter. You need to see the rains. And that's how life is. Okay, if you are going on a fourth gear or in a high speed gear, okay, the car is going to crash. You need to lower down your gears also in life. You need to
Yes.
basically take some pause, okay, come to a neutral state where you ground yourself, you understand, okay, that okay, this is the time for the body to relax, for cooling down, okay, for uh, uh, calming your senses, and then only again restart. Everything in life is all about balance. Unless you have the right balance, okay, even a car will not function, even your body will not function, and even your work will not function. So it's just that okay, sometimes okay, in the pursuit of our goals, in the pursuit of making money, okay, we don't like to lose. Okay, but important is losing is very very critical in having that right balance, because without a loss, you will not really smell the sweetness of success. You will not taste the sweetness of success. So losing is very critical. Along with happiness should be sadness. Along with day should be night. So everything is a matter of balance. Okay, and our mind is also a matter of balance. Okay, we cannot just be firing our mind. We need to be basically calming it down. Okay, taking some mental pause. Okay, doing your meditation. Okay, probably doing your asanas, whichever is required to calm you down.
Yeah, just to add to what you said, Mr. Prasad, asanas also, or when we do any forward bending, we're asked to do the reverse. So that is where the balance comes. It's not that
Yes.
we overstretch on one side and we don't even bother to stretch on the other side.
Yeah.
Yeah, balance is the key. And yeah, I don't know. I was balancing two things from 2 years. I was on another call, and I was also listening to the sharing that's happening here. Yeah, very interesting sharing and reflection that's happening about balancing IQ and EQ. Again, that was one of the things that came about in the presentation. They they complement each other. They
Yes.
cannot replace, one cannot replace the other.
Yes.
They have a definite role in opening the doors, and then how one can climb the stairs, climb the ladder of leadership. And it is not that once they get into a certain position, they can forget about upgrading themselves, about whether it's the knowledge or the skill side. That also need to happen. So there's always this balance, and yeah, which was even evident in your this thing. Even in your monthly plan, the focus initially in the first 10 days, where there are not many orders, you'll be focusing on how to generate orders, uh, through marketing activities and other things. But when it comes to the last 10 days, how do you balance out where you want results and you want sales to happen come what may? So not sitting in the office, getting out into the field, and getting the real orders to fulfill uh, the plan for the month. So yeah, again, that's balancing the sales activities and the marketing activities. So everywhere balance is critical. Totally agree.
Yeah. And one more thing, Shetty sir, people never fail. In lot of time we know everything, the results are not coming. What is the reason for that?
So,
Even though, yeah, because we say the destiny. What is the destiny? When you born, according to your date of birth, birth time, birthplace, you bought something when you born with the DNA. That is also controlling your life. And same time, you can win the destiny by with that free will. Free will means what result I want. For that, what action are my thoughts, my feelings, my emotion, my speech, my word, my action give the reality. So that free will is missing. So main one is we have to balance. There also balance. Uh, our thing is the achieving the result. For that, what I had to be there. It is not the rigid. When Nagaraj sir was saying, even the inhale, exhale, every asana, when we talk about the chakras also, more than 27 qualities are there. Not only it is that spiritual, not only the energy, even for money also, a relationship also, even the health also, even the mind also. So what I want to say, these are all the things, the energy, how we are effectively, efficiently handling. Lot of time we know, but are we in practice? Knowing alone will not give you that. So that our journey is converting that knowing into being also main important. That's required that action maturity also that. Yeah, that is the experience will that. According to the time we have to change, transform. Otherwise, that universe will force us to change. Thank you.
Yeah, just to respond to what you mentioned regarding the circle of the birth date as well as the time when you were born. Okay, obviously, okay, these are some things which we cannot change. Okay, you cannot change your parents, you cannot change
Yeah.
the place you were born. Okay,
Yes.
these are
Yes.
hard facts which we have to live with.
Yes.
But what we can change is the way we think. Okay, the way
Yes.
we do. Okay,
Yes.
the way we believe in ourselves. Okay, and like they say, okay, sometimes okay, there are certain results which happen because of a karma. Now, karma is something which I cannot change. It has happened in my past life, maybe in my past whatever due to the situation has happened. But then there is always a possibility of change by getting
Yes.
into something which is more spiritual, like you sit into a meditation, or probably you can rewire your mind, you can think differently, you can isolate whatever is the past from what you are to where you are today, and then get into a different trajectory completely for the future.
Yes.
So then there is always that balance which can help you understand. Okay,
Yes.
but if you're in that steam, or when if you're in that flow and the wave of what happened in the past, and that things will not improve, and that because of my birth date, because of the place I was born, because the caste I believe, because of the color I am, okay, that things will not work for me, then it will never work for you.
Yeah.
You need to know that these are things which are immaterial, because that
Yes.
is something which you cannot change. You can only change what you are capable of, okay,
Yes.
what is possible of. And today the world is also changed a lot. It is moved in the right direction to understand that it is something which has to do with current times. It has to be something which is in sync with what is the reality. Okay,
Very good.
and today, I think in our modern world, no one really goes into your past and checks your history of what college you studied, where you have studied, okay, which
No need.
education you are carrying, okay, which place you were born. Okay, today the results matter. Today your performance matters. Where you are today, with what capabilities and what results you have achieved, is what determines where you are standing. What is your respect? What is
Yes.
your position in life? Okay, and that is very clear that we have to keep rewiring ourselves, we have to keep challenging ourselves, and we have to redo. Okay, we have to reinvent. Okay, we have to churn. Okay, so that at least we are able, okay, to build up our capabilities, because the world is changing so fast. The shelf life of many people are getting eroded. It's only because, okay, the world's perspective is changing, technology is changing, and expectations are changing. And like I said, okay, you cannot only keep chasing money, cannot keep chasing only success, you cannot keep chasing happiness. Okay, you have to be happy with what you are, you have to have money for what you need at that particular moment, and you should be contented with what you have for that particular situation. Okay, because if definitely if you're living in a five-star hotel like Burj Khalifa or some Fairmont hotel, you need to have more money. But will that give you happiness? Okay, it is just an expectation, and for that you have to keep delivering. But you can always live in a small five-star, three-star hotel, two-star hotel, and still get that same happiness. So it all depends on your expectations and how you want to
Yes.
deliver. And there's nothing wrong in living in a five-star, nothing wrong in living in a two-star. It is all your inner world. It is the way basically you size up a situation, you handle a situation, you handle your expectations, which will determine whether you are in your right sweet spot or whether you need to work better for your right sweet spot. So it's all coming within us, it's all within our capabilities, and rest all is just a factor of the external world. And if you become a party, if you become a victim of the external world, life will never be satisfying for you.
Yes.
You have to be not a hostage. You have to be more of a contributor to your happiness.
Wonderful.
If you think that you are a factor of the external circumstances, that will never work for you. You should be a participant of your inner world, and you will see the change within you, the happiness within you, which will basically stand you in good stand, hold you on the ground, and believe that okay, you are the best what you have been able to do. You are yourself.
Yeah, when you correctly say, we cannot change our father, we cannot change our date of birth, place, everything. But what we can change, that will give the result, that is coming from the free will. So, we should know what we can change, what we cannot change. That is coming from the Vivek. That is from coming from that training, development, practice. Lot of things are there. The main one is the rain is going to happen. You cannot change. But prepon or postpone or taking umbrella, you are going and doing that coming from that thing. So you are not stopped because of the reason. So how we can become unreasonable and also creating the workability. Except change, everything is changing. So here we are not changing, we are actually transforming. Whatever thing happen, keep it that, what is required. So that the mind will also resisting. If I'm having some habit I don't want to happen, I want to change, it will persist there. Okay, I will create some new habit. So that's the way the old effect will be reduced. So the free will is a must one. Thank you.
Yes, Naveen. Go ahead, Naveen.
Yeah, Acharya sir, I think your answer to the questions which you asked on the dais, I think I have shown the most trusted where I'm there in the, what you call, in the Tata department store where the people have lined up, which I showed you. And it is the trust which matters a lot. Whether whatever the infrastructure, what you have, the mindset, the trust what is created by the people in, and then only you can have all the negativity nullified and be the positive. Back to you.
Thank you, Naveen. Thank you for your feedback.
Yeah.
So thank you. Yeah, the time is 8:08. A very lot of reflections, lot of sharing. Thank you, Acharya sir. Thank you, Mr. Prasad. Thank you, Kamalji.
Yes.
Bhatia sir has left.
Thank you.
Tulsi ma'am had come on video. I think she wants to share something.
Yeah, I was listening everything, sir. I couldn't give any sharing because in between my network gone, but I was feeding my grandchild, so I
Wow.
was
Okay.
listening.
Hello.
It was a
Hi.
very interesting and
Hi.
informative topic.
Hi.
Nice presentation, nice people.
Hello.
Thank you. Thank you, Tulsi ma'am.
Hello.
Thank you,
Hey,
sir. Thank you. No.
Oh, she needs
He is
attention.
sleeping.
Thank you, Tulsi ma'am.
Really?
Oh, okay.
Thank you, sir.
Okay. Thank you,
Okay,
Tulsi ma'am.
thank you. Have a nice
Thank you.
weekend.
Thank you, Naveen. Thank you, Acharya sir. Thank you, Kamalji. Yeah,
Thank
let's
you.
work
Thank
on
you, sir.
the suggestion from
Yes,
Veerapan
yes,
sir.
yes.
Yeah, it's a very
Good
important.
suggestion. Yeah.
Let's work on it. Thank you,
Yeah, I'll check
Kamalji.
out.
Thank you for joining.
Thank you.
Thank you, Anu. Thank you, Aipan sir. Thank you, Pandya. Thank you, Dr. Murali. Thank you, Mr. Prasad. Thank you, Tulsi ma'am. Thank you, Veerapan sir. Have a great weekend. Enjoy with your family
Thank
and
you,
friends. Bye bye.
Yes. Have a nice day. Good session. Okay. Everybody participated. Okay.